Hello, everybody. My name is LaPrecious, and welcome to my channel. Let's talk with LaPrecious. So, today I'm going to be talking to you all about Black women and dating. The reason why I've decided to talk about this topic is because when it comes to most of the women that I've spoken to, even with my own experiences, as well as things I see on YouTube and in social media, I feel like we as Black women really need to have that conversation about why we struggle so much when it comes to dating. Because I'm not trying to link all Black women into this pool because I know all Black women don't struggle with dating. You do have some Black women, and not just some, but a lot of Black women that don't have that issue of dating. So I'm going to make that clear before anybody says, well, I don't have any issues dating. I don't know what you're talking about. But, this video only pertains to the women who are having trouble when it comes to dating. So, a few points I want to make from my own experiences and the experiences of other women I've spoken to. One of the reasons why I believe we as women in the Black community have issues with dating is because we really have not been taught self love, especially when being raised or brought up. Because I'm learning and I'm seeing from a lot of Black women's experiences with their mothers or grandmothers, it's like they have that not self hate ingrained in them. And it's some of that too, but I've noticed that a lot of Black women have been raised by mean girl mamas or mean girl grandmas. Hey, Forecast for Life. And I've noticed that due to experiencing that type of rejection at home, getting yelled at, getting cussed at, getting fussed at all the time, it can make you feel hated and it can make you feel like you're not wanted. And as time goes on, when you grow up, it's conditioned in you and ingrained in you to speak like that and to talk like that to people. And then not only that, but in the Black community, I feel like even now, we have a real issue still with colorism because nowadays it's all about it's all about embracing dark skinned women, or it's all about embracing brown skinned women. But I'm really seeing more of a push for dark skinned Black women than I am for all shades of Black women. Now I know back in the day, especially in like I want to say the 80s and the 90s, that's when you saw this big push or this big fatuation with light skinned women or with mixed women. And it just seems like as time has gone on, and I believe that this is due to social media criticism, all of these different makeup brands catering to different shades of Black women, and all of these different campaigns and ads and makeup and fashion companies putting more darker skinned women out on the forefront. But one thing I'm noticing, especially online within the Black community, now it's becoming as if you're not dark skinned or if you're not as dark, you're not Black enough, or you're not African enough, or you're not attractive, or you're not pretty, or you're just not too much of something. And it just seems like within the Black community, especially with women, there's always this haterism that's going on. Oh, you not cute because you too dark, or you not cute because you too this, or you not cute because you too that. Now on the flip side, now it's saying, oh, you not cute because you too light, you not cute because you brown, and you not cute because of this. And I'm like, on the flip side, when it's all said and done, we're still Black regardless of what shade of Black that we are. And just because you're dark skinned does not make you better than anybody, nor does it make you more dateable or relatable or even more Black. You have people who are fake and phony in all shades of Black. You have people who of all shades of Black who don't like being Black. And just because you think that being dark skinned is beautiful or pretty doesn't mean that everybody thinks that way and believes that way. And I'm just really sick and tired of seeing that on YouTube, and not just on YouTube, but in social media in general. Like, every Black woman does not have to be dark skinned to be pretty. And every Black woman does not have to be dark skin, and not just dark skin, but dark skin and curvaceous. Hey, beautiful magic. Dark skin and curvaceous, or dark skin and plump, just to be beautiful, because I see that a lot. And then what's worse is that we as black women, when we're in our own social circles, whether that be online or offline in our own groups, we talk about how black men already don't want to date us, don't prefer us, and don't really want to fool with us. But then it's also worse now. Oh, you didn't miss a whole lot because I just got started. And then what's also worse now is that other races of men are starting to see how we treat each other and how we size each other up based on skin color and hair texture and things of that nature, and they pick up on that. So not only is it difficult to be a black woman dating within your own race of black men, now it's difficult when it comes to dating even with white men, Hispanic men, and even with Asian men or mixed men, because now we live in a time and era where people have choices and people have preferences. And now to me it seems like if you're someone's preference, then okay, it's a field day, then you can date them. But it seems like if you're not their preference, then you got to remain single until you find somebody whose preference is yours, or who prefers you per se. And I feel like those are the main things that make dating difficult for black women. But I also feel like another aspect of dating that is not discussed with black women is that a lot of us put up with one-sided relationships way too much. And I see that a lot with us as well, where we could be with a man or a woman, whichever floats your boat. We could be with a man or a woman, and this man or this woman is not calling us as much as we're calling them. They're not talking to us as much as we're talking to them. They're not writing us as much as we're writing to them. They're not putting as much effort into the relationship as much as we are. And we overwork ourselves. We feel frustrated. We feel mad. We feel angry, or we feel upset. And I'm like, well, that's because you're pouring your cup into somebody else that's not pouring back into you. Because I feel like, due to slavery and due to the disengagement of healthy relationships within the black family, that a lot of us have been raised by single mothers or women that were raised in dysfunctional families where the male pretty much dogged out, beat up, and oh, hey Nazia Harrison, and where the man pretty much beat up on the woman or dogged out the woman and whatever, and her mother and her grandmother, probably told her, well, if you really love him, you will put up with it. If you really want to be with him, you will put up with that. And a lot of us have grown up seeing that, and then when we get into relationships and the man is not talking to us, and the man is not speaking to us respectfully, and the man is not treating us respectfully, and we just sit there and put up with it. And I've seen it with female on female relationships as well. And I just feel like there's a lot of not self, there's a lot of lack of self love within black women, because it's like, due to slavery, American society already has it ingrained in their mindsets that black people, black women, are not educated, can't be educated. All we do is let people knock us up and get us pregnant all the time. We're not wealthy, not successful. We're just not worth anything. And then what's worse is that we not only have to fight against those perceptions of black people, but we even have it within our own families, where we're being taught to put up with disrespect and neglect and abuse just to have somebody. Because I myself, as a black woman, had even been told that the reason why I can't date a man of another ethnicity, and this is a thing that I've always heard too, and y'all could tell me in the comments if y'all had this experience before, where as a black woman, if you're interested in interracial dating, because I've always dated interracially, and no, I don't have any issues with dating black men, but I've been told that, maybe I'm too masculine or too strong, or I have morals, or I'm just pretty much a person that believes in doing the right thing, and that's why they don't like me. And they want women that are doormats, and they want women that are submissive and everything. And I'm like, why? And the reason why I'm questioning this is because I've seen where white women, Hispanic women, and Asian women, they've been able to stay comfortable within their cultures. I've seen Asian women be Asian and, do what Asian women do. Hispanic, same thing. White women, same thing. And they're able to date, black, white, Puerto Rican, and Chinese and still be themselves. But it's like when it comes to us, it's like in order for us to be in a relationship, whether that's with a black or a non black man, we have to be a slave. We have to put up with abuse. We have to put up with somebody talking hateful to us. We have to put up with somebody not coming home all the time, not wanting to be close to us, not wanting to be into us. Sorry, y'all. My cap kind of showing. Not really be interested in us like that. And it's being taught to us that that's love. And that's not really love, especially if you're not getting everything that you know to get in a relationship. Because, and a lot of people, they want to paint this image of a successful relationship pretty much being just half butted, where the woman is well put together but the man is not, and they paint this image that that's how a family is supposed to be, and it's not, because I don't see why a lot of women who come from backgrounds like this or are currently in relationships like this don't see and think, this man is cheating on me, not coming home to me, he's talking to me crazy, beating me upside my head all the time, and I'm the one that's being bruised and abused and getting my feelings hurt, and he's not. And and I don't understand how you can just, you could just sit there and put up with that and not think, well, okay, he's not getting this type of abuse and he's living his life. He's doing well. He's, going to work, church, friends, wherever he's at. And here I am suffering. And I don't see how you could not just question that and say, well, I deserve to be happy too. I deserve to have a life too. I deserve to be with somebody who wants to be with me and wants to cherish me and whatnot with that. And I just don't see how women just don't think like that, because I've seen where a lot of women have been the go along, get along type. And yes, they were able to get husbands and boyfriends and perks and trinkets and whatever, but they had to put up with a lot of abuse and maltreatment just to keep it. Because in today's world, and I feel like it's been like this since the beginning of time, that's why a lot of times when we see things from afar that looks good, it's not everything that we think that it is. Because you have a lot of people, not just on social media, but even in real life, where they have these pristine, grandiose lives from afar, but we're not seeing how they have to put up with a man or a woman being verbally, physically, sexually, or mentally abused. And if it's not any type of abuse, we're not seeing how this woman, in order for her to be with this man or this woman, may have to sacrifice going to college, or sacrifice taking on a high paying job, or sacrifice taking on scholastic or French or platonic, relationships. And a lot of times women, they suffer with that. And then when these women suffer and they have kids, they're bitter. And when the children, especially the daughters, go out and start living their lives and having fun. Oh, you think you better than me. Oh, you can't do this. You got to get this for me. And then we see that cycle of how the woman was mistreated and abused when she was with the man, and now she's doing it to her daughter because she was made to believe that that's showing love to somebody. But she's not seeing how the same way she was stripped of everything that she was supposed to have, she's doing it to her daughter. And we see that a lot in the black community as well. Sometimes you feel like you're being traded in for something better. At least that's how I felt. It's always been either a white woman or either a mixed woman or biracial. Yeah, you do. You do. And it's just so, and I feel like dating is starting to get better for black women, but I just wish that people would see us for who we really are and stop trying to cookie cut us into these stereotypical roles or stereotypical figures. And I really wish that black women and black people would stop playing into it too. Because it's not only non black folks trying to already keep us beneath them and keep us in that slave mentality or to keep us in that enslaved position, but you got black people playing a part in it. And if it's not blacks enslaving other blacks because they're accepted by the non blacks, is blacks people saying, yes, massa, when they do that type of stuff to us as their way of going along with it to keep their jobs or to keep these relationships and friendships. And when you do that, that teaches them, yeah, we got y'all. Or like we still got y'all like we always had. And see, a lot of black people don't see how they play a part in it because I feel like you cannot say that you are a proud black woman or a proud black man, but you partake in the abuse and the mistreatment and even the preferential treatment of how non-black people treat us sometimes when it comes to jobs and relationships and stuff. I've seen it all the time. I've seen it my whole life because I have seen where black women with interracial relationships, and I'm not trying to downplay that because you can love anybody whomever you want to, but I have seen where some black women they'll be with a white man and they'll just quote unquote act white and go along with everything he say, everything he do, and everything. And then when he say something racist or say something that's borderline racist, oh, he didn't mean that. Or he's just playing. Or he's just joking around. Oh, that's not exactly what he said. Then they try to reword and act like he didn't say what he said. And I've even seen like when black women date Hispanic men sometimes, if it's not a green card scenario, and I'm not trying to be mean when I say this, but I've seen it. If it's not a green card scenario where they're marrying them to keep them in the country or as a way of helping them out, I've seen where black women have just been such a help or such a aid to the Hispanic community and Hispanic men by helping them go to school and helping them build up their families and just doing this. And I've even seen black women do this with Asians too. And a lot of times when you black and you try to talk to these black women that's catering to these other races, and why are you talking to me? I don't want to talk to you. Oh, okay, I don't got time for that. And and it's like automatic rejection. And and I've seen that bit by bit growing up, and I even knew a girl who was kind of like that. And it's just like if we don't have this love for ourselves and amongst each other, then who are we going to get it from? Because I personally feel like it's good that with this rejuvenation of Black Lives Matter, the government is finally starting to listen to us and a lot of other people are starting to listen to us because I feel like it has shook up a lot of people. Because I don't think what happened this year was so much of a trend, but it's shaking up a lot of people where we like, okay, we got to respect blacks because they're coming in our schools getting these degrees, they're coming in our jobs, building up the place, and and they're moving in our neighborhoods. We can't call the police on them no more, falsely report them and falsely accuse them, they're gaining power. And so now, since we're gaining more power and more momentum, people get scared. So they're like, okay, well, we got to respect y'all so we can keep our seats and so that we can keep our business and money inflow coming in. And I feel like it should have been like that since the beginning. If the Latino community can have that and the LGBTQ community can have that, why can't we? Well, we've actually been here a lot longer before those two groups have been here in larger numbers like now. And so, yeah, and I just feel like that has a lot to do with it too, because as Black women, we can be loved the right way. And as Black women, we can date healthy. And as Black women, we can have healthy families and successful families just like everybody else. But I just feel like the way that we present ourselves sometimes it's just not the right way, but then it's also bad that a lot of blacks are partaking in a lot of this racism when it comes to them mixing in and fitting in with the other races when it comes to them picking on us and taking advantage of us, because self-hate is a real big thing in the black community as well. And so those were like the two major things that I see with black women when it comes to our issues of dating. But another thing that I'm seeing is that a lot of us, and I think this is going to be my last point, a lot of us are chasing after people that are not chasing after us. Because I see and I hear a lot of that too going on with black women. Because, and that goes along to my second point that I made about the one sidedness. Because the way that I see it, and I just feel like a lot of us just do not want to come with terms with reality, because I think that due to this, and I believe in manifestation, and yes, manifestation is real, but I believe that due to some of this new age way of thinking, as in I have the whole world in my hands and I can have whatever it is that I want, we tend to believe in that, but I'm just gonna have to crack the glass and shatter the golden globe. But you can't have everything that you want in life. And I think that's a hard pill for a lot of us to swallow, because it's not only the new age teachings that we're starting to listen to that has us like this, but it's also the fact that we just can't seem to understand that we're not the only ones that have rights and that have needs and desires, but there's also other people that have needs and wants and desires too. I know as far as myself, I like for my men to look a certain way. And I like for them to carry themselves a certain way. And I like for them to live and just be a certain way. But I know there's also men that want a woman that's a certain way and that want a woman to live a certain way and all of that. It just seems like black men aren't interested in me anymore. You mean are not interested in you anymore? But yeah. And and people, they just have their preferences and their desires of who they want to be in a relationship with. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But I just hate how it's so problematic for black women with the preferences, because I even feel like with black men have more choices in dating than black women do. And I feel like due to this, I think we're starting to see the wall break down of how non-black people can have us but we can't have them. And I'm seeing that especially with black men, because I've noticed with black men, it used to be a long time ago where white women were off limits and Hispanic women and Asian women were off limits, but you did see like a sprinkle of black men here and there with white women, Mexican women, or like Vietnamese women. But now you see them with like all types of women. And I do feel like due to that stereotype of black men not being good enough, and black men not being men and not being worthy of anything. And I do feel like, due to black men being sexualized as well by other races, because they always say black men put it down in the bedroom and all that kind of stuff. But I also feel like, due to black men, and just due to black men, being men in general, because I'll start to get into like masculine, what was I gonna say? Masculine energy. Black men are one of the only men that have a good mix of feminine and masculine. And that's not to say that they're gay, but it's like they know how to take charge like a man, but they also know how to care and nurture like a woman. And a lot of ethnicities, they don't have that in their men. With Hispanic men, it's about machismo. With Asian men, it's the same thing. With white men, it's the same thing. With white men, it's the same thing too. And with mixed men, it depends, especially on what side they were raised on and whatever and what they're exactly mixed with. But yeah, it just depends. But black men, it's like they have that uniqueness about them that other men don't have. And I think that's what a lot of non-black men, black, not said men, a lot of non-black women are attracted to. And yes, there is a fatuation now of, having mixed kids and kids with a little bit of color in them and stuff like that. So yeah, that plays a part in it as well. But when it comes to black women, it's still a struggle for us, because it's like with black women, it just seems like the only thing people know us for, romantic wise, is that we perform the best in bed. But I've never really heard that black women make good mothers, unless you're a single mother. And that's pretty much it. And I've pretty much heard that from our men and non-black men, for the most part, that black women know how to put it down in the bedroom. And if it's not for sexual performance, it's about how black women have, big butts and curvy bodies, or they pretty much have that, the Nicki Minaj, Serena Williams, type of body. And it seems like that's what a lot of them tend to go after. So it just seems like with us, it's all about being sexually sexually active and being good at it, but it's also about us being sexually fit as well. And it seems like if we don't have these types of bodies or performances about us, then it's like we're undateable. And but one thing I do notice is that it also depends on the location that you're at as well. Because I live in Winston, and here I'm gonna be honest with you, when it comes to race relations, I've noticed that a lot of people here, they tolerate people of different races, but the acceptance rate, I want to say, is from low to medium. But I've noticed that when it comes to other cities like Greensboro and Charlotte, and even with Clemens, it's like there's a high acceptance rate of non-black people. And I just don't know what Winston, where they just seem to have this stronghold on whiteness, because we do have blacks and Hispanics and Asians that live here, but you still see that where the Asians hang out on this side, the whites on this side, the blacks on this side, and they may come together for a moment or whatever, but it's like in order for y'all to mix, it's still where the non-black people have to like you, but you can't like them. Because when you like them, it's an invasion, but when they like us, it's okay. And that's pretty much what I see here. But I've also noticed that in other cities, when it comes to black women dating, whether it's dating black men or non-black men, or women, it just don't seem to be that much of a problem. Because I know, based on where I've been to Charlotte. In Charlotte. That's why I love Charlotte. When you go to Charlotte and even Greensboro, you will see couples of every shape, size, color, ethnic group, sexuality, everything. But here it's like you'll see it, but not that much. And then when I lived in Las Vegas, you saw everybody out there with somebody. You know, you could be dark skinned black and be with a white guy. You could be brown skinned and be with a Hispanic guy. You could be tall and plus size and be with a skinny guy. You could be, short and skinny and be with a skinny guy or a big guy. It wa- hmm, it was, a big. It was just a lot of diversity. It was just a lot of diversity, and it just seems like they don't realize that we just want love and we want to be happy and we want to enjoy the same things like other races do. Exactly, and we do. And it just seems like when it comes to dating and online dating, I've heard from a lot of black women can be treacherous, and I could say that I can relate to that as well, because when it comes to online dating, I have experienced, if it hasn't been sexual objectification, it's like if you don't got a full length picture where you got this nice curvaceous body and a big booty, I'm not talking to you. Or if you even say in the profile, because I know what it's like to have to play up with the profile bios and descriptions and say, well, I'm not looking for anything serious. I'm just looking for a good time. And then that's when a guy will start talking to you seriously. And then if you say that you want to be in a serious relationship, you can't get nobody to talk to you. Like, I've been there too. So yeah, the internet, online dating, it could be very confusing, because I have done chat rooms and I have done dating apps, and it has pretty much been the same thing. It's like if you don't fit their image of perfection, they don't want you. They don't. They don't want you. And I've done this on an international level, a local level, and a national level. Looks play a part in a lot of communities and societies. It just does. And another thing I want to touch on is this whole femininity issue as well. Because I've noticed now how a lot of black YouTubers, especially black female YouTubers, are doing videos on femininity. How you should be feminine by wearing dresses and wearing makeup and wearing, stylish hairstyles, how you should speak, how you should carry yourself. The only thing I get from those videos, to be positive, is that they do prepare us for professionalism. So I can say that, because a lot of black women, unfortunately, our mothers don't really teach us how to be feminine per se. They don't really teach us how to be, polite, nice, respectful, and a lot of times they don't teach us how to be assertive and how to get what we want and how to fight for it. Because I myself, I've had to fight for a lot of things in my life just to get fairness and just to get what's mine. Because anybody knows, and this goes for anybody, but especially with black women, hardly anything is handed to us on a silver platter. Teach you to keep your guard up. Yeah, or how to be hard or how to be tough. And it's like if you cry, it's like if you have feelings, or if like you want to talk about something, oh, suck it up. Or you can get over it. Oh, that don't matter. You got other stuff to do. Don't nobody want to talk about that. And it's just always met with an attitude. So yeah, I'm glad that these femininity videos are teaching us how to be feminine, how to be girly, how to be a woman pretty much, and how to own up to our feelings. And but the thing I don't like about what some of these femininity gurus like to teach is they want to teach us how to be, in a way, doormats for men. And then they kind of shame women, and then they want to shame women for being educated. They want to shame women for pretty much wanting a man that doesn't want a 9 to 5 job, or pretty much dating a man that doesn't make as much money as you. My thing is, and that's why I've stopped. Now, one thing I will say with a lot of these femininity YouTubers I've watched, like Chrissy and Chloe underscore, and there's a couple of them too online that have had these major discussions about femininity. They've made a lot of good points, especially about moving in silence, not building a man, not making up a man, and whatnot. But I just really don't like how they teach black women sometimes that you can't please a man with your degrees. You can't please a man with how much money you make, blah blah blah. My thing is black women that should not be shamed for going to college and going to school. We shouldn't, because I feel like in the African American community, we're one of the only races where when it comes to family, even as a community, that doesn't push higher living or higher earning or really a high level of education unless you come from an astute family or a family full of educators, or you just born into an environment where people have money in school. Because I'm like, Afro Caribbean women go to school and get degrees, and they still get husbands and boyfriends and stuff. And African women of all, black women in the diaspora, they get masters and bachelors and PhDs. And then even when it comes to black Hispanic women, they go to school and get degrees and whatnot. So it's like, if all of these women in the African diaspora become educated and get men, then why can't we? Because it's like we as black women, we have to start saying that I want to be a doctor. I'm going to go to school to be a doctor. We have to start saying that I want to be a lawyer. I want to go to school to be a lawyer. Or if you want to be a hairdresser, I want to go to cosmetology school, or an esthetician, or I want to own a nail salon. Like, we have to start putting that in ourselves and working towards it and getting the degrees and the certifications to get that, because black people, we have got to get out of our mindsets. And I don't mean to offend anybody that works in fast food or retail, grocery stores, whatever, because I used to work in all of them. We have got to stop subjecting ourselves to only those types of jobs, because in the world that we live in now, people will not take you seriously just because you're smart. If you don't have a resume with replicable sources, if you don't have a resume that says you have a certification that's in high demand after a high school diploma, or if you don't have set skills that are very marketable, or some type of degree or doctorate, people are not going to take you seriously and they're not going to listen to you. And unfortunately, a lot of us that are very talented and gifted are going to get passed on because we're not going to school and getting those degrees that a lot of us need to get our foot in the door. And not only that, but I feel like if black people would start going to school and applying for these doctor jobs and nursing jobs and things of that sort, then we could break the mold and shatter the cycle and even the mindsets of how black people are not educated. For example, in Winston-Salem, you still have tons of doctor's offices that are almost predominantly white. And I feel like as many black folks that live in this city, like, why don't we have more than one person in a doctor's office or in a clinic of some sorts? Like, to me, that just doesn't make sense to me. It's like our faces need to be seen in a whole lot more places than fast food, Walmart, construction, and a lot of these other types of jobs. Like I said, I'm not bashing people that do those jobs because I've done them myself, but I just really feel like it's just really time for us to level up. It is, and I feel like we as women need to stop trying to cut ourselves short or stop trying to cut ourselves short of back because we want to get a man. And I just feel like we as black women sometimes have to just move a little smarter. You can still get a man and be educated, but you don't have to flaunt your education. You can still get a man and be a lawyer or a doctor or a nurse practitioner or a medical interpreter, but you don't have to flaunt that to get somebody. There are plenty of men around here that, will date women that work in fast food part time and they got a full time job and a house waiting on her. And it is. And I've always believed love has no color, so I always let my children know that because right now, half of them are adults, and I'm glad that I did that because I do have mixed children, and that's good. Because I also feel like as Black women, we need to stop. We need to stop only subjecting ourselves to Black men. Because despite all the other things that I said, you do have non-Black men out there that genuinely like Black women. You do. And I know a lot of us want Black love, and a lot of us are looking for Black love, but some of us just might not have that. And the reason that this so, because I really do feel like there's been a spiritual change in the world when it comes to dating. And I feel like this has happened for a reason because I believe that we're all supposed to be mixed up in some way or some form. And so I feel like spiritually, a lot of men have been changed to like different races of women. And it just seems that with Black women, we're making moves and we're catching up to where Black men are. But I just feel like a lot of us need help and need understanding because we have to realize that we have choices too. And I do feel like we need to start venturing out. But sometimes I feel like it's the location that we're in. Because in some areas, they just don't welcome or just not that accepting of Black women dating non Black men. Even though we live in 2020, it's still like that in some places. And you could go to some places where dating interracial as a Black woman is no big deal, and it's so common where it's almost a surprise to some that you would be a Black woman and still want to date a Black man. It just is what it is. And that's what I think. And I think that with Black women, if a lot of us probably were to do what we love to do and were to love ourselves and actually start filling up someone who's filling us up at the same time, we would be, better off in the relationship department. But I also feel like some of us just need to leave ignorant environments. And some of us just need to leave ignorant people behind and to let them go because sometimes these people and places can keep our minds trapped. This is such a great conversation. You're amazing. Oh, thank you. And some of us are just keeping our minds trapped because of other people around us or the environments that we live in. Because I know this from even being in Puerto Rico. Because when I was in Puerto Rico, and I and I really want to go back, but Puerto Rico is just not in the best of shape right now because they're going through earthquakes again, and then they're going through power outages and now water shortages, and it's just a whole lot of stuff going on over there. But I even noticed how in Puerto Rico, now I'm gonna be honest. When I didn't have my wig on, they knew that I was Black, so they spoke English to me. They knew I was an American and this, that, and the third. And I did get disrespect, but I did hear some of the ignorance of how they will speak to me in English because they assumed that I didn't speak Spanish being due to me being a Black American. But when I spoke Spanish, they're like, okay, then you must be a Puerto Rican or you must have learned Spanish. So they kind of clicked them off too. But I also noticed that besides that, when you go to Puerto Rico, to me, everybody is Puerto Rican there. You'll see Black Puerto Ricans, not just in Loíza, which is like a predominantly Black area in Puerto Rico, but when you go to San Juan and Piñones, and I only stayed mainly in that area. But when you go to these different places, you'll see Puerto Ricans that look Chinese, Black, mixed with Chinese and Black, or white Puerto Ricans, just all types of Puerto Ricans. And you'll have some that'll speak Spanish to you because they think you're Puerto Rican or whatever. And in a sense, you feel like color doesn't matter, and in a sense, you feel as if you're seen as a person and not just a color. Because I've spoken to other black people that have traveled overseas, and they said they felt the same thing. That over here, for whatever reason, it's like when you go out into society, they see you as a black person, unless you live in a ethnically mixed environment where they're used to black people, mixing in with everybody. It won't be like that. Sometimes it will, but for the most part it won't. And then when you go to like ignorant places, everybody see you as black. But I think that when it comes to other cultures, especially I've noticed this in Latin America, but they have racism and colorism too. And in the Caribbean and even in Africa, it's like, okay, you're black, but you're not like Black Lives Matter, fight the people kind of black. You just happen to be a Mexican of black descent, or a Dominican of black descent, or a Nigerian, of black descent. And it's like, okay, moving along, show's over. And you're just going with your life and talk to people. But it's like here, it's like when you speak another language, people can't get past the fact that you black and can speak another language. Or if you're black and you happen to have a doctorate degree, or if you're black and you happen to be the first valedictorian at your high school, and they still have that to this day at a lot of these high schools where they have the first black king and queen at the prom, the first black valedictorians, and all that. And it's sad because it's like we've been here for so long and y'all still think of us like this. And it's just and it's just the way it is. But I feel like it needs to change because I feel like we're starting to see improvement with race relations. But I just feel like people have got to be honest. There is a lot of colorism and racism on both sides when it comes to black people, and especially with black women, because I myself know what it's like to not feel good enough, putting on wigs to, hopefully think that somebody will think I'm Dominican or Cuban or Puerto Rican or something, and they'll treat me better. And then maybe, well, okay, I see how they like black women, and maybe if I take my wig off and wear my real hair, then they'll start accepting me, as black. And I've just seen how other races, they just don't, they just don't deal with stuff like that because it's like for whatever reason Asians and Hispanics and whites, they got the good stereotypes, but with blacks, it's like we got the, you ghetto or you baby mama, you a thug, you done been to jail and all that kind of stuff. It's like we have to fight for everything and have to put on this image, and then we can't even be human because we know if we slip and fall or mess up, they want us gone, they want us out. We can't date people, we can't talk to people, we can't keep this job or whatever if we mess up and act up. And I just feel like for once, black people, we need to be allowed to be black. We do. We need to be allowed to be black. And I myself, as a black woman, when it comes to dating, I've really learned, what works for me. Another point I want to make is that you have some black women that have been told to allow a man to approach you, and you shouldn't approach him because when you approach a man, you're chasing him. It's going to make him leave for you, run from you, whatever. I beg to differ with that because I think it just depends on what is in alignment with that woman's will or purpose or her personality. Because you've had a lot of women that have approached men and they got them. And no, they didn't just get them for a good time, or they got them for a hookup, or they just got them for a conversation. Like, no, they actually got them to be their boyfriend, fiance, and husband, and they was the first ones to talk. But then for some of us, that doesn't work. So we have to wait until a man approaches us, and it's not the other way, the other way around for us. And I just feel like, especially with the femininity gurus that are out there, they kind of frown upon women, especially black women, approaching men. But I'm gonna be honest, it just to me it just depends. Because you do have some black men that can, get a man, and the man won't be, a Debbie Downer or a user or a dust bunny, like they say, or a man who just wants to be picked up and taken care of while she's, dolling him up and everything. But you do have women that approach men and they actually get men and they respect them, they treat them good and everything. Because some women, they just got it like that, where they could get a man or a woman to approach them and get them, or they could approach a man or a woman and get them like that. But all of us just don't have that. Some of us have to sit back and let the man approach and make the first move. And then it'll go from there. I feel like with dating with us, is more of like trial and error. That's just what it is. But I really do feel like there needs to be a liberation with black women where we need to be allowed to have the freedom as well, because a lot of us, we just don't have that freedom. And I feel like with some of us it's going to take a lot of soul searching, and it's going to take a lot of journaling, spiritual awakenings. But I also feel like for some of us, we just may have to move to new cities, new states, or even new countries just for things for us to be better. Because one reason why I like, what's the name of that show? 90 Day Fiance, The Other Way. Because there's a black girl on there who's actually in a relationship with a man from Jordan. And I love watching them because it's rare to see a black woman with a non black man and who doesn't happen to be white. Because for whatever reason, they always like pairing us white people with nobody else. And he's Arab and he seems to be really into her, but due to her being so privileged over here, it's an adjustment for her to go over to Jordan and to really be into that culture. But I like seeing it because you don't really see a lot of black women be appreciated and accepted like that on a public level. And that's another thing I don't like is how with us in our interracial relationships, it's like we have to keep that a secret. Because I have seen a lot of black women, and it's not just us being bashed by non black people, but I've seen a lot of cattiness and nastiness shown towards black women publicly that happen to do videos or take pictures of their boyfriends and husbands that aren't black. And I'm saying to myself, like, as long as this woman has found somebody who makes her happy and who cherishes her, why are y'all mad? And so, and we see a lot of that too. So, it's just, I just feel like we as black women, we just have to see what works for us. And I just, hate to say it, but I just feel like a lot of us, if we, unless we learn, because a lot of black women are spiritually intuitive, whether we know it or not. A lot of us have a strong female intuition. And a lot of us know what men are attracted to, what women are attracted to. So I believe that a lot of us, we're either going to have to be what people want us to be for us to fit in, or we're just going to have to go out there and explore who and see who likes us and who doesn't. Because I would just like to see one day where black women can be happy. Where we can date and have jobs and money that's coming into our liking, and we can finally leave the racial conversations alone and the struggle conversations alone. Because I just feel like we as black women, we have been here for a very long time. And we have been the backbone for a lot of communities, just not the African American community, but other communities as well, for us to still be going through this. So I just feel like with a lot of black women, we need to start having self love for ourselves. We need to start giving to people that are giving to us, start liking people that like us, and to just pretty much, be ourselves, but to also find our way and find our path and, just figure out what makes us happy. But I also feel like with a lot of us as black women, we need to we need to throw them away altogether. We need to throw away those toxic mindsets and perceptions that have been taught to us by our families and by our communities. Because I feel like, due to that self hate being ingrained in us with the colorism and the featureism and the body shaming of not being curvy enough, of being too thick and being too big, we need to throw that out. But at the same time, as Black women, we need to start taking better care of ourselves, mental wise, physical wise, sexual wise as well. Because, and I also feel like with sex, Black women, we need to start being more open and honest about that as well. Yes, get rid of the toxic mindset. Yes, the toxic mindset. Because a lot of us deal with that in the Black community, the toxic mindset or the poverty mindset. And yeah, and I also feel like when it comes to sex, a lot of us need to start taking responsibility in that as well, because I feel like just in the dating arena, when it comes to letting men or women do whatever they want to do with us and us thinking that that's love, we need to start thinking about how we do that in the sex arena as well. Because now, when it comes to the HIV and AIDS stats, I'm not that aware of. But I do know that as Black women, a lot of us don't have those safe sex conversations or those sexual conversations that we need to have. But a lot of us just need to start having more sexual responsibility, because there isn't a lot of talk about condoms or about birth control or even about how to have a healthy sex life, because it's like, in a way, that's still kind of taboo in our community. And I mean, sex is natural and it could be fun and it could be beautiful and whatnot. But I just feel like a lot of us, we just need to take the chains off, and we just need to take off this restriction and this weight that we've been holding for so long. Situationships are romanticized. Yeah, they are. They are. Because situationships is not a relationship. A man texting you good morning every other 5 days and what you doing on the hour, every hour, and not following up with a concrete conversation or an adequate text or anything, that's not a relationship. Like, he is just keeping tabs on you and keeping a hold on you until he finds somebody he really want to be with, or whomever he playing with ain't working out. So he just seeing how busy you are, so that when you're not busy, he can snatch you up and do what he wants with you. Yeah, situationships, that's a real problem with us too. Because situationships are not a relationship. A situationship is when two people are talking, and 9 times out of 10, one party is more into the other person than the other person is into them. And this whole time, the other person is using that person that really wants a relationship, and they're not going nowhere. And then when you bring up the conversation of what are we and where are we, all you get is, well, we just talking, or, well, we just feeling each other out. I mean, it's been 6 months, or like it's been 5 months. Like a man or a woman, when they really are interested in you, and when they really like you and love you, they're gonna start talking to you right off the bat every single day, or at least every other day. There's gonna be a healthy consistency of a conversation. And once y'all start talking long enough, I want to say at least after 2 weeks or maybe even 3 weeks, y'all will meet up. And then when y'all meet up, y'all start going out on dates or whatever. And then before you know it, when y'all have y'all's first kiss and holding hands and stuff, y'all are in a relationship. It's as simple as that. But this whole situationship stuff, it's nothing but a time waster. It is. And people have babies in this, and they just have these fantasized relationships with people that really don't want them like that, and that's really not interested in them like that, and they were just using them the whole time. That's all people know in high school and now in college. Yeah, they do. And I really don't know where this came from, because I'm like, I feel like situationships is almost a pandemic. Cause it's like, can't nobody be real no more. But one thing I want to say before I go, I feel like a lot of women and men need to start humbling themselves a little bit when it comes to these dating preferences that they have. Because I'm going to just go ahead and say it. That's why a lot of us are single. It is. Because if you can get somebody that's your type, body shape, hair texture, eye color, more power to you. But I feel like if you can't, then maybe find somebody that instead of them being super fine and sexy, maybe just find somebody that's cute. Or maybe find somebody because I feel like people need to start looking for quality in a person and instead of just looks all the time because there's more to a person than just how they look because a lot of these men that always want to go after these either thin supermodel rich type of women or these big booty video vixen type of girls. I'm like, that's why y'all can't have a healthy conversation. Y'all be mad at each other all the time, or y'all always fighting. Somebody getting a glass thrown at their head, or y'all walking in public, people looking at y'all, admiring y'all's relationships, but y'all just too attractive people that's just sitting together and ain't really doing nothing. When y'all get home, y'all don't have no conversations, no table talks, or nothing like that. It's like y'all are just two people that are just clicking with each other because y'all are attractive and y'all look good and it feels good and y'all enjoy each other's presence. But it's like y'all can't get past that. And so I feel like if a lot of men and women would just get past this look obsession, a lot more people will be married and happy. And if at least in some form of concrete relationship. Because this, if it don't look good, I ain't talking, or if they don't look how I want them to look, then we ain't gonna have nothing. I'm like, well, that's probably why you don't have nobody because sometimes what we want does fall in alignment of what we're supposed to have, but some people just don't understand that if you don't fit the criteria of the person that you want, then you just gonna have to want somebody else. And I just don't know why God, the universe, and whomever you believe in just has it so people's alignments fit in with their desires, and then he's made it or they've made it so people's desires don't fit in with their alignment and they have to settle or put up with people that they don't want. And that's just what I've noticed. Yeah, people shouldn't be having sex, people they don't want to bring a child to the world with. Yeah, that too. And there's just a lot of dysfunction, but at the same time, everybody don't want to make sense. And everybody don't want to be in a healthy relationship because to some people being healthy and being right and doing the right thing is boring and it doesn't bring them any attention. It doesn't bring them any glamour, any awards, any friends. So that's why they just don't bother with it. And they want to put up with the toxic relationship because they see it as exciting and enticing and whatnot when somebody's cussing them out or being, mad at them and all. Some people they just been raised to think that that's normal. If they want to have that, then more power to them. But I just feel like with black women, I just really feel like we need a change. We do. I just really feel like we need a change because there is a lot that is going on within us with our community that we really just need to roll out and just to settle and to just stop. Because enough is enough. Enough is enough of like the cattiness within us when it comes to dating. Enough is enough when it comes to the body shaming that a lot of us do. Because I feel like it's not only the men we have to fight with sometimes in dating, it's the women too. Because I feel like a lot of black women sometimes are jealous of each other. Or they're jealous of other black women that seem to have the man that they want but can't get, or they just have the careers that they want and can't seem to have, or they just have the life they want. And I'm like, this is why our community doesn't thrive that much. And I just feel like our community almost in a way just doesn't have that much standing anymore because of the jealousy and Yeah, no more dysfunctional relationships, baby mama culture, colorism, self hatred, etc. Yeah, and even with the body shaming, you'll have black women say to a skinny black girl, "Oh, you need a bit, or you need to eat a cheeseburger. Oh, you need to drink more milk." Or yes, true indeed. The ish is stupid. Yeah, and they'll say things like, "Oh, you need to eat a cheeseburger." Oh, you need to drink some milk. Oh, you need to get some surgery. Your titties too small, or your butt too flat. And it's like you got black women looking at other black women's bodies, telling them how to get butt implants and all this stuff. And sometimes these women that's saying this stuff don't even look half as good as you, or even good at all. And that's something else I've noticed too. That's kind of a thing that's kind of passed down in our families, is that jealousy. Because I've noticed that a lot of us that grew up with toxic parents, like toxic mothers and grandmothers and even aunties, that hate, that hatred towards other women, or the nitpickiness, or the you need to change this, you need to stop that, you need to take that off, you need to not do this, it's crazy. Because I'm like, what is it about this other woman's shoes or clothes or hair texture, whatever, that just bothers you so bad? It's not your hair. Those are not your shoes. Those are not your clothes. You ain't paying for it. You didn't buy it. So it's like, why do you have such a problem with that? And when it comes to me, I even had to learn how to ignore remarks like that against me. And I had to tell myself, you know what, this is my life. I can live it however I want to. I can live it however I choose. I can be whoever I want to be. Because if you're not the one that's paying for my shoes, paying for my hair, paying for my nails, my clothes, all that type of stuff, you don't need to be saying anything. Like for real. And I just see that a lot, because I'm like, how you gonna tell this woman how to shape her body or whatever, and you not even taking care of your shape? And plus, a lot of people don't understand that some people are comfortable with being skinny. Some people are comfortable with being heavy set or big or plus size or out of shape. Some people are comfortable with that, because some people feel like if they're still able to have friends and get jobs and go to school and have healthy relationships, being and looking the way that they are, then leave them alone. Because you have some women well, a lot of women at that, where they don't have to lose weight to be popular or to be liked, or where they don't have to gain weight to be liked and whatever. And especially the people who's always on social media talking about how perfect their relationship is really not. Exactly. Yeah, and you do see a lot of that on social media with the clout chasing, or even like the lying, or the front, like people putting on fronts and stuff for people. And my thing is, it's like, if your relationship is not really this good, or if it's not, why are you putting it on social media? Because the thing is, if you and this person breaking up, then you got to delete all the pictures y'all done took. Now you're in the pictures with a new man or with a new woman, and and it's like, now people are gonna start to see, well, she's doing this for attention, or she's doing this simply because she wants to look good, blah blah blah. And I'm like, it's not even like that. Like, people don't understand, when it comes to keeping up with a social media presence, it is a lot of hard work. Like, these people who put on fronts or whatever for social media or the clout chase, they put in a lot of time and effort to look perfect. They do. And people nowadays have a really bad case of elitism, thinking they're better because they got degrees, thinking they're better than somebody because they got a new Rolls Royce in the driveway, or thinking that they're better than somebody because they go to this church or this temple. And it's just a lot of, I'm better than you, you're not better than me going on. And I just feel like, and I've even had to learn this, because I know what it's like to be insecure or to be jealous of people on the internet, especially people that I don't know. Because a lot of times this stuff is just so in your face that it's just really hard for you to almost like yourself. Because for some women, it's rare to see women online that are popular or famous that look like us, where we're not a video vixen or where we're not a slim model or if we're not light skinned or dark skinned or whatever it is, that seems to be popular, we kind of feel out of the loop. And then what's worse, we have friends and family members that chase after these people, that are so popular and so well known and so well thought of. And then we thinking, well, oh, well, I wish I had people running to me like that, or I wish I had people being on my side like that, or well, I wish I had people, and then we catch ourselves being jealous and hating, and then it's just a downfall of all those feelings that we really don't need to, explore or get into. And we have to learn, like as women, that we have to be able to get into ourselves and to just love ourselves and to be what it is that we want to be for ourselves, and the kind of legacy and whatnot that we want to have. Because I've even had to learn that as well, because I myself struggle with jealousy sometimes. And I've had to check myself on more than one occasion recently, because sometimes it just really hurts how that you're such a good person, you're such a good this and good that, and you just can't seem to win in anything. And you just can't seem to make a breakthrough, and you just can't seem to be successful or well known or well thought of like other people. And I honestly say, I don't understand it. I don't, because a lot of people in the world, they make you feel like you're supposed to be a good person to get good things in life, but it seems like the opposite. And I've learned for myself that as a person, you have to mix the good and the bad to get what you want in life. Sometimes to be a bit selfish, sometimes you need to be a bit caring, and sometimes you're just gonna have to seduce people out of stuff and to seduce people to get them to be into you. And sometimes you may have to decorate your social media platform or maybe your clothes and your hair, and maybe try to fix the way that you talk in a way that's enticing the people to bring people into you. Because I've just noticed that you can't be too bad, but you also can't be too good. It's like you have the good and the bad of personality characteristics to get what you want in life. You just do. Especially that parent that always told you were stupid since your whole child in adulthood, no matter what you do wrong or right. Yeah, yeah, and a lot of people have that ingrained in them. And a lot of us, especially in the black community, it's just really crazy that we do that, because a lot of us have been raised to hate ourselves. Where we were taught, you're not pretty because you're not light skinned, or you're not pretty because you're not mixed, or you're not pretty because you're not dark enough, or your hair is not long enough, or you need to put a relaxer in your hair, a perm in your hair of some sorts. And then it's worse when you hear that at home, and then you go out into the world and it's reinforced, and it's like, am I pretty? Am I good enough? Am I this? And I've even had to learn how to separate myself from that mindset, because a lot of us have come under or been under narcissistic parenting. Because narcissism is another pandemic in the world where people are just so selfish, where every encounter they have with somebody is about them. When they raise their children, they want the children serving them, but they never want to give the kids what they're supposed to have. Or when they're in a relationship or friendship, every conversation they have is about them, what they're going through, and what they're looking into, and what they want, and what they deserve. And then when you try to get them to listen to you about what you have to say and what you want to be and things of that nature, it's shut down, it's ignored, it's not considered. And it's like, and then if you don't know how to wake up from that mindset, you'll start to feel like, well, I guess I don't matter then, because every time I say something, she ain't listening, or every time I want to show something, ain't nobody caring. And a lot of kids grow up in environments like that. And a lot of us, as present day adults in the black community, grew up like that. And that's why a lot of us sometimes are very mean and dismissive towards other people because the same thing was done to us. And we think that that's normal or the way to do things. But then again, it's like, a lot of us, whether we know it or not, have been raised to hate ourselves. I have a sibling who wanted me to do what other girls my age were doing. I've ignored it since day one. And that's and I know what it's like to come under peer pressure from family members or even strangers. And a lot of times we have to think to ourselves, well, how is this going to affect me? And how is this going to hinder my walk in life? And how is this going to carry me through, Because a lot of people sometimes want to tell you to do things like other people because they're jealous of how you are at an age of youth where you're single, you're not married, you don't have kids. But when they were your age, or if they're at your age, they were made to feel like since they got pregnant or since they were with a boy or a man, that they had to just grow up so fast and hurry up and get a job and dismiss school and just be a bitter adult or a bitter parent. And and a lot of people sometimes after they done pass down that bad teaching and bad way of thinking on somebody else. Because a lot of us sometimes get bashed by people because they're jealous of us. Because they wish that they had it easy like we did or the way that we have it now. But they also feel like, well, why was this done to me and why it's not being done to you? And I've noticed that within the black community as well. Because if a lot of us don't start, believing in ourselves and saying, I'm interested in doing this. And sometimes when we get into new environments, like I myself, I am a medical interpreter because I've just finished the program. I passed my class, yay! And I'm on my way to being a medical interpreter. And I've currently started volunteering at a medical clinic. And this medical clinic is positive, and I even had a nurse, pretty much speak into me what I was thinking. She said that due to my personality and by me speaking Spanish and whatnot. Oh, thank you, Tiana. And by me speaking Spanish and whatnot, that I should be a nurse, become an RN. And she actually told me the steps to get there. And a lot of us as black women, and that's another thing I feel like we need to do. We need to start opening up our mindsets. Thank you, Forecast. And because if we don't open up our mindsets, a lot of us are going to continue to believe and think that we're not good enough, that we're not pretty enough, that we're not smart enough. And a lot of us, it'll be shocking and even heartbreaking in a way when we go into environments and we have people that uplift us out of the blue or encourage us and tell us how pretty we are and whatnot out of the blue. And it makes us sad or it's kind of confusing to us when we grew up being told that we was good for nothing or that we weren't pretty or that we, was stupid and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of us have to learn how to detach ourselves from that. Oh, thank you everybody for your congratulations. And I'm on also gonna do a video on that too. And but yeah, a lot of us in the black community we've been raised and it's been ingrained in us to not like ourselves. And I also feel like as black women, and I've even learned this about myself too, that we have to stop pairing ourselves up with people that we know don't like us. Because sometimes with dating, and I've even had to learn this myself, that we cannot continue to be with men or date men that we know just don't find us interesting, just don't find us attractive, just don't think that we're beautiful, pretty, nothing like that. We have to stop being with men like that because if we get into that habit of being rejected and stuff by them so much, that could start beating the feeling into us that we're not good enough and that we're not pretty. So I just feel like as black women, adding on to everything that I've said, that we need to start surrounding ourselves and putting ourselves in better environments. We do. Start being around people that want to be around us. Start being around people that actually accept us and not just tolerate us. But we also need to start building ourselves up. There is nothing masculine about being college educated. Not at all. There is nothing masculine about being smart. There's nothing masculine about having a good paying job and being able to pay your own bills and house and car note. There's nothing masculine about that. You have plenty of women of other races that do it and they still get men. It's just that you have to be willing to be with a man, whether he's your preference or not, that will respect that about you and that will want to be with you and that will want to see that in you. Like one time I had a man that, and I, this is when I worked at McDonald's, and he was interested in me. You know, he talked to me, you know, all the time and whatnot. And and I would tell him, oh, I'm studying this. He would say, impressive, blah, blah, blah. But he didn't care about that. It's like he didn't care that I worked at McDonald's. He didn't care that I was working on an associate's degree in business. He didn't care about that. It was like he was talking to me because he was talking to me, LaPrecious the person. And that's what we really have to start looking for in men or women, because you want to be with somebody that wants to be with you for you. Because one thing I want to say, and this is going to be the last thing I mention, is that when you want people to like you for the things that you have and for the way that you look, when your looks fade and that house goes away, those cars go away, or you end up having clothes on your house or lease your apartment and kind of downsize or downgrade, then you'll start seeing those people's attitudes change. And the people that were once with you when you had it all are going to be all gone when all this stuff you had is all gone. And that's just true because because if people want to be with you for you, they're going to be with you whether you have a degree or not. They are. They're going to be with you whether you have a degree or not. They're going to be with you whether you got an apartment or not. They're going to be with you for you. They're not going to be with you because of your stuff. And I feel like that's what social media is teaching people now, how to simply just be with people just for stuff. People, they're going to be with you just for stuff. And when that stuff is all gone or gets old or rusted and stuff, they're gonna be like, well, why you won't get a new house? Or why you won't get a new car? Why you won't get it's like, do you have any money to give me all this kind of stuff? And a lot of times the people that judge you the worst can't even keep up their own life or will even give you a hand to help you get up to the place that they judging you for not being on. And that's the type to think about. And that's why we have to stop caring so much sometimes about what other people have to say about us. Because if people judging you and dogging you out and stuff like that, and they're not giving you a hand to help you in that, then you don't need to listen to them. They don't even respect black women. Stop chasing after the Lil Waynes and 50 Cents. They just tolerate you black women. Yeah, 50 Cent. Yeah, I heard about 50 Cent and what he said about only wanting exotic women. And Lil Wayne done said the same thing too. And Chris Brown, I still listen to Chris Brown because this Go Crazy song, I love it. Every time song come on, I dance to it. But the thing, I could care less about Lil Wayne, 50 Cent. 50 Cent is a troll. All he do is just clout chase and troll. 50 Cent don't even make music no more. All he do is just troll on the internet and do power. That TV show that's on Stars. And then Lil Wayne ain't really made no music anything now, and he's doing what, a podcast, and then he be saying this little stupid stuff that kind of low key bashes black people and be uplifting everybody else. If a D-bag look how he treat his own son, yeah, 50 Cent do treat his own son like crap. But yeah, a lot of these black men, the famous black ones from what I see, they don't really be wanting black women like that. And my thing is that black women have to stop beating up men and talking about men and stuff that don't want them. But at the same time, I think that black men that don't want black women need to stop picking on us. Because my thing, if you don't want us, then why are you talking about us so much? Because sometimes I feel like black men will say this little stuff about us just to be slick and mean, but now it's coming off as a form of bullying. And I really do feel like that needs to stop, especially with black men, because I'm like, if y'all don't like us like that and don't prefer us like that, then why are you talking about us so much? Because it's obvious that you just with this non-black girl because she's pretty or because she's giving it to you the way you want it, but you just feel the need to be so obsessed with us and whatnot. Because sometimes I feel like this whole interrelationship, I say interrelationship, interracial relationship craze that a lot of people seem to be in, I feel like some of it is for real, but I feel like some of it is, ooh, I got with a white girl, or ooh, I got with an Asian girl, ooh, I got with a Hispanic boy, something like that. It's just like the fatuation, or it's just like the, I can't believe I was able to do this or accomplish this, or ooh, I got a mixed baby, she looks Dominican or Cuban, or she looks like Kardashian and stuff. I feel like some of it is for attention instead of it being for real love and for real. It looks like it's just for attention and clout chasing. Right, right. And I just feel like the bashing from non-black men is sometimes it's a form of bullying. Cause I'm like, if y'all don't like us like that and ain't interested, then leave us alone. If you happy with the Hispanic girls, then be with the Hispanic girls then. If you happy with the white girls or the Asian girls or Blasian girls, then go ahead and be with them. Go ahead and be with them. Like, why are you messing with us and why are you talking about us so bad? And then it's like with Chris Brown. Now, Chris Brown, he, even in the Go Crazy song, he said, so he didn't say black women or whatever. But okay, I just thought of the verse in it because he did get in trouble because he said he only likes brown girls with good hair, and we all know he probably talk about Blasian girls or um girls like Rihanna or just mixed girls or black girls that just happen to have a little curl or whatever to their hair and things of that nature. You can date interracial out the disrespect is literally like hating on your own mom. Yeah, it is. And you see a lot of that going on. The thing is with Chris Brown, because even in his Go Crazy song, at the end of the song, he said something like, then they switch when they see I'm choosy about to be top down, gotta doing donuts on the D, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I heard that part because I was listening to it, and I'm like, wait a minute, what he say? And yeah, he said that. He said he said then they switch when they see I'm choosy about to be, and I'm like, okay, you telling us you got a preference of the kind of girls that you like to sleep with. So yeah, Chris Brown, he knew probably this time not to say it because of how much backlash he got for it. But then now, it's like, it is what it is. And my thing is, black men, if y'all do not like black women, that is okay. But stop making songs and and releasing memes and tweets and stuff like that dissing us. And then not only that, but I feel like that's why a lot of other races pick on us as well because they see our own men doing it to us. Because and I've seen this happen too, where other races will be with black people that hate black people, and they see how they dog us out, chew us up, and spit us out, they'll disrespect us. But I've also seen how black people that fit in with white people, and y'all know how white people sometimes talk to us and say, well, you got a bachelor's degree, or did you go to WSSU or HBCU? Because a lot of times they assume that since we're black, we always go to a historical black college, or maybe, and we can never go to like Yale or Harvard or somewhere like that. And then you'll have black people who will sit up here and say the same thing. And I've even seen where black people that fit in with Hispanic people will treat us just like the Hispanic people do sometimes. Where when we speak Spanish, the black people that fit in with the black people, they're like, "Oh, how do you speak Spanish? Oh, how did you learn? Like, oh, are you Dominican or something?" I'm like, "No, I'm black just like you." But and to me, it's just silly. And a lot of these people, from what I've noticed at Cape, for a lot of these non-black folks, they have to put up with a lot of mess and drama, or sometimes they just end up going through a whole lot of karma for that. Because I don't care what you say, whether you believe in God, the universe, or whomever, the way that you treat people determines how you're going to be treated by other people. It is. And even if it's not through the treatment of other people, you're going to have something in your life that's a pitfall or a mishap, or just something is just going to make because of how you're treating people. Okay, y'all. I'm not leaving y'all just yet, but I gotta hook up my computer because it's about to go dead. So let me hurry up, plug it up. Okay, there we go. I saved it. So yeah, Christopher Powder Brown. We already know you like non-black, mixed race, racially mixed women. Yeah, yeah, they'll be like African Americans can't speak another language. Yeah, and then there's black folks that be fitting in with these other races of people that will talk just as racist to us. Like the other people, I'm like, y'all need to go look in the mirror because y'all know y'all black, right? Right, you have to be a foreign black. Yes, just like yeah, and I've gotten that too sometimes when I used to go to Hispanic churches to improve on my Spanish. If I'm a black person, I speak Spanish. If I'm not Dominican or Puerto Rican, and one time I got Ecuadorian, I don't know how I got that because I didn't even know they had black people in Ecuador. I've gotten Jamaican or maybe like African of some sorts. Yeah, it's like every time we're well aware of other cultures or another language, we always have to be a Caribbean black or African black or a mix, or mix or something. I'm like, no, I'm African American. So, and then they see, oh, when you speaking another language is good, like if it's a compliment. And I've gotten that too. Sometimes I don't. I try my best not to get easily offended, but it just is what it is. And I just feel like a lot of this like animosity and this like backbite that a lot of us get in the community, it is just so unnecessary. It is. It's just so unnecessary. So yeah. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, leave a comment in the comment section, and have a good day.